Good afternoon, soul seekers. So here I am. Right. So, what I wanted to talk about today is the counterintuitive thing that supercharges your personal growth, your spiritual growth, all of that kind of stuff. Um, and although I've known it intellectually, how comes I didn't know this and live it on a daily basis? So, look, here's the bottom line. The counterintuitive thing that supercharges your spiritual growth is taking a break from your spiritual learning, right? And it sounds so counterintuitive, right? Because you just always want to be able to learn a new thing, try a new thing. And now I'm not talking about take a break from your spiritual practice. So I'm not talking about take a break from meditation, for example, or mindfulness. I'm not talking about take a break from reframing certain thoughts when they pop into your head. And I'm not talking about take a break from find your seat of consciousness. I'm not talking about take a break from your consistent awareness. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is taking a break from the learning. So if you're anything like me, you get to a point where you just want to know the next thing. And it's almost when impatience kicks in for me personally, because I've learned a thing, I've read a book, I've listened to a podcast, I've watched some videos, I've talked to people, and I've come with like, oh, why didn't I realize that before? And it's amazing growth. And then when I get to the end of that book, I spend maybe about a half a second, honestly, um, thinking about the book. And I know intuitively, I trust that that's going to seep itself into my consciousness. But taking a break is more important than you think. So, learning is analyzing, right? So what we do is our brain kind of breaks things apart, pulls it all over the place to find all the component pieces so that we can find understanding with all the tiny little bits, right? And that's all well and good. But in order to bring all of that back together again, there is not a conscious process that can deliberately synthesize all the information that you've got. How does synthesizing happen then? Your subconscious mind does that. Now, well, I could go all science on you. There's a particular amount of a certain hormone. You only get 3 hours worth of it in any given day, and the only way to replenish that is to go to sleep. But look, here's the bottom line. There's an easier way to do it than that. And yes, sleep will help. But the easier way to do it is to take a mind break, an emotional break. It might be listen to a song you like. It might be dance around for 5 or 10 minutes. It might be leave the material where it is and go and do something else. Now, if you've bought my book already, I mean, you won't be able to actually, because the one I'm talking about is the second book and it releases in about 2 weeks. But if you're on the wait list, then obviously you'll get that straight away. I don't think I put anything in the first book about detachment, but in the second book, I've dug deeper than ever before with some of these core spiritual concepts, and one of them is detachment. I'll do a whole separate dedicated video on detachment, but all I'm going to say is being able to take the information and then let it go and trust that your soul knows what to do. It knows when you're going to need that information, and that information will come back at the literally at the click of your fingers. In the moment when you need it, the information will be there. Guaranteed, the information will be there for you. And if at any point you're in a scenario where the information just isn't there for you, it it's because you didn't need it to be. It's because in that moment there was a different lesson for you to learn, there was a different skill for you to bring forth, there was a different something for you to do. Anyway, I wanted to just quickly jump on. And the reason this came to me is because my husband finally, I'd been for about maybe 3 years, I've been asking him to read a particular book, The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. You may and may not have read it. If you haven't read it, oh my God, please read it. They've been asking him for 3 years to read this book and he hadn't. But he'd recently started listening to it on Audible. And this afternoon, he got to the end of the book and I was so excited. And we've had such lovely conversations about it. Now, what he actually did after we finished that conversation about the book, um, he went, okay, you know what? I just need to listen to some music now. And I felt a little bit like, hold on, because there's so much more I wanted to talk to you about. But obviously, he wanted to listen to music. Let that happen. If you listen carefully, you'll hear him singing because there's music on upstairs in the dressing room, and he is singing at the top of his lungs. Anyway, so what was I saying? So I felt a little bit like I wanted to talk more about it. He was like, I just need to listen to some music, and I'm in the mood for some music. And I reflected on it and thought, that is powerful. What he does is powerful. He only takes the information that he needs at the time that he needs it, and then intuitively he takes the break when it's necessary. And guaranteed, in a couple of days, he's going to come and tell me something. He's going to have a perspective on that book that I haven't had. And we're going to have an amazing conversation. And this is what always happens. He'll finally get to a particular piece of material that I'd been asking him to look at for a long time. He'll get to it when he's ready. And then at some point, he'll come to me with something that is like gold. And I'm like, this is why I wanted you to read it, so that we could have this conversation. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. When that happens, I will drop another video and give you the update on the gold. And one of these days, actually, what I might do is bring him in and we'll have a bit of a discussion. Anyway, you know what? I don't know if he's even going to agree to that. I would love that, but I don't know if he's going to agree to that. I'll do my best to get him on. You might have to ask for it to happen in the comments as well. Anyway, for now, I'm going to stop talking. We're going out for dinner. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I will see you in the next video.